does Manny Pacquiao go now?
First of all, I want to fight Barrera. I know I can beat him knockout.
You know what that means? He says with all his talk about, oh, he's going to knock me out and all the things he's been saying, he said, tell him to get himself prepared well, because after this fight, he'll be dreaming of Marco Antonio Barrera.
The year is 2003. Manny Pacquiao is on the cusp of becoming a star in the USA.
I had never seen him. I frankly had never heard of him, but I've seen and heard of him now.
But before he finally makes the permanent move to a broader mainstream audience, he needs to prove himself against the two-division champion baby-faced assassin known as Marco Antonio Barrera.
You wanted to see executions. You didn't think anybody was going to beat him. Everybody he fought looked like they were about to die.
With 13 title defenses at the super bantamweight division, amidst just a couple of losses and a newfound demolition of the featherweight division with some of his greatest wins, it seems Pacquiao's in against his roughest and toughest opponent yet. Welcome back to Boxing After Dark. Tonight, it's another in a long line of memorable bouts from Pac-Man that we will be witnessing in a battle where, although his fundamentals were in a state of growth and his experience at the top was still relatively green, his mean streak behind his happy smile was at its strongest, and his hunger for greatness was larger than butter beans for knockouts and nourishment. Let's get into it. Manny Pacquiao's record, when viewed in an era where losing your own means you have to go and your promoter washes their hands with you, seems average at 38 wins with 2 losses and a draw.
You come to a fight with Frazier and he loses and you leave with Foreman or something like that?
Yes, that's true. That's business.
But while one loss was against a man who was 15-8 and another against the sadly forgotten but underrated champion McGowan Singarat, these losses are quickly disputed when having their tale told. The first loss was at the age of 17, when the young man shouldn't have been in the ring to begin with.
They told me the required age is 18, but I was only 16. So I lied and told them I was 18 years old. At that time, I weighed 98 pounds, which was 10 pounds under the minimum weight. So in order to make weight, I put heavy objects in my pockets to make me heavier.
And the next was when stepping up to retain his title of champion and realizing levels of boxing that a young man of 20 can't possibly understand. Pacquiao's career was incredible for his age. At 24, he was already a 2-weight world champion and now fighting the experienced Barrera for a third, and his influence all over Asia as a small yet lovable fighter helped an entire continent appreciate a sport that hadn't seen much spotlight since Gabriel Elorde over 30 years prior.
Zero crime in the entire country. The rebels, the secessionists, ceasefire. Everybody says ceasefire. That's how it is when Manny fights.
Marco Antonio Barrera was much like Manny in many ways. A kid who grew up living and breathing boxing, turning professional at 15, and showing potential from the moment he first laced up the gloves.
Many people regard Barrera as the equivalent at the same stage of their careers as Julio Cesar Chavez.
But while Pacquiao was just now getting into his prime, Barrera was unfortunately in the twilight years of his, having 3 losses to his name.
Time that he deserved, but it's going to be over. The bell ends the round.
Has the referee stopped the fight?
Referee has stopped the fight.
Nobody seems certain of exactly what happened.
The first 2 blunders were against the 2-weight champion Junior Jones, and while his first loss was in a bizarre sequence of events that led to disqualification due to his cornerman entering the ring 1 second before the bell went, the second loss was due to an overall lesser performance from what most were used to when watching Barrera. His final loss